Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's Lego room update video, we're going to be kicking off 2024 with a room tour, taking a look at the current state of the Lego room, all the aspects of it, talking about the changes that happened over the course of 2023 and where we see the Lego room going in 2024. Lots of great projects ahead. Really impressed with what we managed to accomplish in 2023 and looking forward to bigger and better things throughout 2024. So let's dive in and start taking a look around the Lego room. Now, one of the biggest accomplishments of 2023 was finishing the conversion of our mainline Lego train track over to Mills. Really happy with that. It was a great decision to undertake that project. It was massive. It took a lot of parts and a lot of effort, but it's so great now that we've got the entire mainline track converted over to Mills. It gives us a lot of options when we are taking modules to Lego shows and displaying parts of our layout and our trains. It gives us a lot of cool things to pull from, and looking forward to continuing the Mills work in 2024. We've talked a bit about this before, but the big track projects to kick off the year are going to be finishing the siding areas and the rest of the train yard area and industrial portion of the layout. Really looking forward to getting the this end of the train yard all onto Mills and connected into our mainline track. It'll give us some additional ways to run trains through the layout, and it'll make it easier to get trains in and out of the train yard, and will also make it easier for us to stage and show off some of our trains that aren't in action around the layout. Now, the city portion of the layout had some changes throughout 2023. We added a few new buildings, but the biggest thing I think that we accomplished in the city was continuing to build out our lighting solution and adding more of the foundational sort of wiring and understanding what we need to get the lighting in the city to the level I want to have it at. So that was really good, but the big thing for 2024 is going to be finishing the conversion of all of our modulars over to Mills and really just filling out the city. I will talk more about this in an upcoming video, but we've got a huge backlog of buildings and structures for the city portion of the layout. And I really want to start making some headway against that and starting to flesh out the city so that we've got the full 2 rows of buildings in the city. Obviously, we've worked a lot on this Main Street area, but there is going to be a row of buildings in behind that Main Street, along with another roadway in there. So lots to do there. I think it's going to be really cool and will really help sort of elevate the look of the layout here. But that is one of the big things for the city portion of the layout. And in general, you'll find as we go through this, the big thing for 2024 is honestly going to be just building, whether it be sets, whether it be buildings for the city, trains. The main thing that we need to accomplish this upcoming year to advance things the way that I want to advance them in the room and the city is to just build a ton of stuff. So you're going to see a lot of that on the channel. We'll do some review videos. There'll be a lot of update videos through the city, through the layout as we add additional display areas through the Lego room. There's going to be a lot of building and a lot of looking for ways to show off those builds around the room in display areas. You know, if it's trains, making sure that those trains have a great way to be displayed when they're not running, looking for ways to run more and more trains around the layout and around the room in general. So that's going to be a big theme, is just building and then looking for, you know, opportunities to really showcase those builds wherever they might be used / displayed in the Lego room. Continuing on with the theme of finishing builds and really doing a lot of building, we've got the Eiffel Tower over here on Mills modules that I'm working on. You can see I'm in progress on a couple of the Eiffel Tower legs and sort of supporting structure areas. Just need to really crank this build out. I'm looking forward to, I think Brick Stuff is this year will be releasing a lighting kit for the Eiffel Tower. Looking forward to integrating that, but really just need to sit down and crank through this build here and get it finished off. It'll be an awesome corner piece and you know, sort of major focal point for the layout. So looking forward to finishing that up, and I think it'll be, you know, a great addition to the layout here. And with that, on this end of the Lego layout, we really want to focus on sorting and organizing for this year. This is a big parts order that I got back towards the end of the summer, and I've been pulling parts from this as I work through the builds that it was for. And you can see I've been sorting out parts into the containers here to go into our Acro Mills wall of parts. Really happy with how the Acro Mills containers have been working, but you know, a big focus for this year is just getting on top of the parts that we have and making them easier to get at, which in most cases just means, you know, taking them from this stage and getting them into the storage containers over there so that they can be easily used and accessed when we're working on something and we know what we need. Plus, I really want to build out this portion of the layout this year for the fairgrounds. Lots of exciting builds that are going into this part of the layout. So big thing, we're going to be organizing this. We've got a number of other parts and containers in the rooms that need to be sorted. So a lot of sorting and organizing ahead. It's not always the most interesting work to do, but the end result will be super useful and will enable us to finish off a number of other builds that we are planning on working on. So a step that I will be pushing on in the coming weeks and should be a regular recurring theme throughout 2024 as we organize the space and sort of maximize our access of the parts that we have. And, you know, as I noted, I'm going to be clearing this space out here for the fairgrounds. And one of the things that I'm going to be pushing on, we've got a lot of Mills modules that are coming online for the city and the rest of the layout to take advantage of. And, you know, while 2023 was the year of Mills for the Mainline Track loop, 2024 should be the year of Mills for just fleshing out the rest of the layout. You know, as I mentioned, the city's going to be a big focal point. We want to get everything set up on Mills over there, trying to fill in all of those gaps. The goal should be ideally by the end of this year, there's very minimal table surface you can see around the layout. Should be dealing with, you know, almost 100% Mills coverage across the layout is my hope. We'll see how close we can get to that, but I don't think it's unreasonable. I think it should be something that we can do. And with that, I really want to spend some time working on taking the scenery and some of the landscaping to the next level. We've been, as you can see, looking around the mills work here, everything's pretty flat. Not a lot of changing levels in the landscape. We've got some trees that we've played around with for shows that we've gone to, but really want to take the landscaping and just the general scenery around the layout up from the very basic levels that it's at right now, and add a ton of that. So building out the mills, and with that sort of going to we'll call it mills 2.0 for the layout, and adding a lot of trees, mountains, hills, flowers, general plants, just really adding a lot of that sort of flavor to the layout. And with that will come additional signals and various structures that you would see around, or that work well with the railway. So water towers, sanding towers, signal structures. So looking forward to that. I think that's going to really add a lot to the layout in general. So looking forward to that. And like I said, a big thing, not only for the layout here at home, but something that I think will help to beef up some of the stuff that we take to shows as well, and will add a lot of flavor and personality. So really looking forward to what we can accomplish there. And I think it should be a lot of fun to take that journey and to start working on those little projects. Now, taking a look inside the sort of office space that I have down here in the Lego room. This is where I do a lot of my building and filming of set reviews and various videos like that. Really happy with how this space has been coming together, a really useful space. And you can see things in progress here, working on the Orient Express. Lots of things sort of queuing up for filming and for sorting out and putting away in the Lego space. Really happy though with the way things are looking in here. You can see we've got the Spider-Man artwork up on the wall here. That was a fun set to build this last year. Lots of personality with the Lego posters and sort of artwork on the walls. Really happy with all of that. So the goal for the upcoming year, really continue to flesh this space out. Want to finish building some of the sets that I want to have displayed up on the shelves in here. I've got several more of the Bricker builds, Pokemon builds that I'm going to be working on that'll be displayed here, as well as some of the Mario builds. So I think that should be fun and should look really nice. And just continuing to basically flesh this space out, make sure it's full of all the different things that I want to display in here, and that it continues to be a really useful space for books and research material related to trains and Lego, that I can still, use it as a great surface for building in here and for filming. But really happy with how this space has been working, and I think that it will continue to grow and work well this upcoming year as we flesh out and finish off some of the display elements in here. Now, one area that I worked on a little bit in 2023, but not as much as I would have liked, is the stairway down into our Lego room. Great place for, sort of showcasing builds and highlighting all the different cool things we have been building and picking up from Lego over the years. And, I really want to make a big push on elevating the space and to finish some of these builds off to have them properly showcased. You can see the number of unbuilt brickheads is growing, but I really love this shelving area here for displaying all of the brickheads. So definitely a goal of mine to work on narrowing down the number of unbuilt sets on this wall and continuing to make this a great focal point for all of the amazing brickhead sets that Lego has released. I'm a huge fan of the brickheads sort of line of sets. I think it's a fun way to showcase a lot of interesting characters from, general TV shows, movies, whether it be animated or, sort of real life actors. I think that there's a lot of cool things that have been highlighted in these sets. And you can see lots of great seasonal sets. There's the Spice Girls there, just so many different types of media that have been captured in the brickheads format. Really cool. A few things on here that aren't 100% brickheads, but even these seasonal ones, I think this is a nice place to showcase them and highlight them as well. So lots of work ahead on this particular wall, but continue to be really happy with the idea and the potential of this. I think it's a cool way to showcase all of the amazing sets that have been released in this particular line. And it's a fun thing to see as you come down and enter into our Lego space. A cool project that we worked on in 2023 was the start of this display area for our Speed Champions and general Lego car/vehicle builds. Really happy with how this is working. I think it's a cool way to highlight and show off all of these amazing Lego vehicles. And I've got some additional vehicles already queued up and ready to be added to this display area, and a number of additional ones to be built as well to be added here. But really happy with this as a solution for displaying all of the great Lego vehicles that we have in our collection. And as we continue to fill out this area here, I'm going to do a focused video on exactly how this was set up and how the cars get mounted on here. But really happy with this project. I think it was a cool thing to add to the stairway here in 2023, and looking forward to continuing to add to it and fill up this space in 2024. And the other thing of note that we have in the stairway here is a lot of artwork and mosaic style builds from Lego. Didn't build a ton of these in 2023, but looking forward to continuing to fill up the wall space here with more of these sets in 2024. I think they look really cool. Again, fun things to see as you're entering the Lego space, and just adds a lot of color and personality to the stairway. I continue to be a big fan of the Lego world map. Still planning on moving this particular art piece out of the stairway here. I would like to get some time to work on the architecture set display wall that I mentioned last year. I think that would be a nice thing for the main Lego room, and I think that this particular map would be a good central point for that architecture area to be built around. So hopefully we'll get time for that in 2024, but I think that will be a cool project to undertake. And then along with that, still need to come up with a plan for this ledge area here at the halfway point when you're coming down into the Lego room. This continues to be kind of the botanical and sort of new set area. So new things that I've built, I will typically put here as a nice way to kind of showcase them, and I can see them, every time I'm coming in and out of the basement to access the Lego room. I think it's kind of a cool thing, and then they eventually migrate to a more permanent long-term storage or display solution. So, I like that, but we'll see if we can come up with some different ideas about how to just showcase and basically utilize this particular portion of the wall area when you're coming down into the Lego room. If you remember back to last January, this is where all the Speed Champion and car sets were. So I like the fact that we've started to move those away to the new display solution. I think this wall solution is much better for highlighting them. So we'll see whether this continues to just be kind of a new build and flower area, or whether we can come up with some other interesting ideas and ways to utilize this space. Now, continuing with the theme of building lots, organizing everything, you can see that the Lego room has become fairly chaotic in the aisleways. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of moving around and waiting to be dealt with. I've got all of most of the Lego train sets that need to be built out in the middle area here and in a pile right here. So we'll definitely be working on cranking through all of those builds and getting all of those trains up and running and located around the layout. Definitely want to make sure that as I'm building things, they're going to a place, whether it's trains, I want to be able to see them around the layout. If it's buildings or other things, I want to make sure things are getting displayed in not say an ideal way, but as best as they can. I want to have nice places for everything to go, but lots of projects to undertake here. I think it's going to be cool to see these trains built, motorized, and up and running. We've got a lot of other interesting things here as well. We've got some of the new 2024 sets that are here waiting to be built. There's some cool train stuff as well. We've got our FX Bricks track that we've been picking up and adding to our electric track collection. And I think that's going to be awesome. We'll talk more about that, but want to get a space for the various 9-volt trains that we have where we can run them and ideally see them in action. I know everybody's very keen on seeing the New York Central Mohawk finished off, so we've got that out, and we will try to return to that this year. But just lots of things to be built and to be organized in here. There's lots of parts, bins like this with parts that need to be sorted out and put into the Acro Mills containers. And as I've mentioned, I do want to start going underneath the tables here with the layout, starting to have, the wood in place to then place track and buildings underneath these tables on a lower level. So that's going to involve sort of going through all the different boxes and sets that are underneath the tables and really starting to dig through there and figure out what's for building, what's for just being allocated to parts, etc. So lots of work ahead on this front, but definitely want to do this right and to get these things integrated into the best possible places for them within the Lego room. So, like I said, trains, want to get those onto the layout, onto sidings, onto the mainline track, wherever they need to go so they can be run and appreciated fully, and it's easy to move them on and off the main line as we want to utilize them. And some of that will be easier as that lower section of the layout comes together. We'll just have more track options available. But there's also a lot of city buildings. As I said, we're going to be filling out the remainder of those empty spaces throughout the city there. It's going to be, I would guess, at least 20 new buildings. So let's say about 20 buildings at least going into the Lego city. Lots of cool stuff there. We've got some of the Bricklink designer sets that still need to be built that'll be getting integrated into the layout that should go around the city and other parts of the layout. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And just a number of different things to be built here, but they should all be really cool, and looking forward to not only adding them to the Lego room in a finished format, but reclaiming this space here. So it's easier to move around the room and easier to work on stuff and access stuff. And there's a number of books and magazines in here as well that we'll be talking about in upcoming videos, continuing to research a lot of model railroad trains and track plans as a foundation to, or as a way to get some ideas for things that we can do with our layout. So lots of cool stuff to cover there as well. And as I mentioned, the first part of the under table layout area that I want to work on is at this end of the layout here. This is where I'm planning on putting the winter village. So I've been starting to work on clearing some of the boxes. And one of the biggest things that's going to open up this space here will be finishing up the Eiffel Tower there and starting to work on the fairground area. That'll clear out some of the boxes that are currently over here and under this part of the layout. And that will really allow us to then open up this particular space for all the sets that are up on top of the shelves here at this end of the Lego room. So currently got all the Winter Village, most of the Winter Village over here. There still are a few that are in boxes that haven't been built because they didn't have a nice final place to go. And there's a few that are in the bookcase display area on the other side of the room. But looking forward to emptying this out a bit so that we can utilize that for displaying other Lego builds that need, large amounts of space. I could see the Titanic going over here, but it ends up being a bit of a, sort of moving things to open up space to move more things. So it'll be a big undertaking, but this is the first portion of the under table layout that I want to work on, and looking forward to the potential I think that this will have. Lots more real estate here to add additional sidings and track, as well as for displaying buildings and various things. So excited about what we can accomplish down here, but it is going to be a big thing, and I will expect lots of videos on this as we work through not only building the various sets and structures that are going to free up space down here and go on the top of the layout, but I'll also film a bit as we pick through a number of the sets and the backlog down here to organize this space. But cool things ahead on this end of the layout. On the subject of display areas, as I mentioned, I do want to do an architecture-focused display area over there centered around the world map Lego set. I think it should look really cool. As part of that, I might end up taking out one more of the bookcases to make room for that, but I do want to really focus on tidying up these display areas this year and make it, easier and better to see all the things that are showcased in there and to better utilize some of that shelf space. So looking forward to that. And another thing that we talked about last year, but I didn't really have a good solution for until the end of the year, was the elevated train track that I want to put around the top of the Lego room. So I've found an Etsy seller. If you saw our Lego train running around the middle of the Christmas tree video this year, really cool stuff that this Etsy seller is is offering, and a great way, I think, to uh, elevate track and put track up on the wall. So looking forward to trying out some more of their products, and I will talk more about that as I get into the process of, starting to really plot out exactly what we're going to do around the perimeter there and which products we'll try initially. But I think that'll be a great addition to the upper portion of the Lego room. And, honestly, just another way to run trains around the Lego space and to have more trains running, which I think is a good thing and should be a lot of fun. And, it'll add, just more layers of interest and, sort of cool things to look at around the Lego space. Also want to continue to fill in that shelving area up there, a nice way to display some of those character sets and some of the bigger sets that can stand out from a higher distance or higher shelf height and sort of farther away distance. So we'll look to continue adding to that display area over there. And, continuing to emphasize the point, like we've got sets that are down this side of the layout over here, making it difficult to access that part of the layout. Just lots of stuff in the walkways and just around the Lego room that needs to be cleaned up. And that usually will mean building and, getting it ready for display, or in some cases, it's just sorting things out. But looking forward to having all those walkways cleared out. Another thing that is important to call out, I think, is the continued work on lighting and powering the layout as a whole. Currently, I would say that most of the lighting in our layout is on the city side of the layout over here. As we add in that second street and row of buildings, I definitely want to make sure that the lighting moves nicely throughout the entirety of the Lego city. But beyond that, really want to push the lighting this year out across the entire layout. So, we've been looking at some possible lighting options out in front of the warehouse over here and down by the fuel area and the grain elevator. I think those are going to be awesome. But, as I mentioned, I want to put in the signal structures around the track area. That's going to be a great thing, I think, to have some lighting integrated with. I want to have some lighting around the fairground area and the Eiffel Tower, and just looking for ways to add lighting throughout the layout. I really want to be able to come to the end of the year and to see that, at least patches of light throughout the entire layout, with an underlying structure for adding lighting and power to the rest of the Mills modules in the city as, opportunities and options come up. So, I've been using these magnetic power couplers to transmit power through the Lego city. We'll be continuing to use those there. I know Brick Stuff has got a different version of this now that's not magnetic that I'm looking forward to trying out. And that will probably get integrated into some of the roadways and into the train yard side of the city. So lots of lighting and power work ahead. We'll continue to highlight that in videos and showcase the different products that we're using. And I think there's some interesting things that we will uncover as we go through that. Definitely looking forward to some of the lighting options around the lighthouse over there. I've got some ideas for a campground that I think, some campfires and stuff like that. Lots of interesting things I think we can do to add not only some of the standard sort of lighting that you might expect, so, interior lighting and street lighting, but some more sort of organic things around different types of structures and, out around the railway tracks and the different parts of the layout. I think it should look really cool. So looking forward to seeing what we can accomplish there. And just a couple other things to highlight. As I mentioned, starting to, the plan will be to free up this top shelf as the Winter Village area moves down underneath the layout over here. I want to continue working on getting some of our big stadium sets built and on display here, and plotting out exactly what we want to display on these upper shelves here. And, with that, continuing to sort of tidy and organize all of the other things that are located over here. We've got lots of bins with parts that need to be sorted, or sets that need to be reassembled from our move a few years ago. There's definitely some things in here that would be nice to get built again and on display. But as I mentioned, I've been loving the Acro Mills containers, a great way to store parts. Just really need to make the push this year on sorting and getting things into those containers to maximize their accessibility. And then with that, that'll free up space underneath these, underneath the Acro Mills containers for the parts overflow. So having the sorted parts that just don't fit into a particular drawer, having those located nicely underneath there will make it easy to access that overflow. So lots of work ahead there, but I think it should be very useful and should really give us a lot of sort of extra momentum when it comes to the building that we have planned for this year, because it'll just make it so much easier to see what parts we have in our own collection and how we can take advantage of those. So overall, I think we accomplished a ton in 2023. 2023 was a tough year for me personally. My father had a number of health issues, especially towards the first half of the year. I did not get to build as much as I had wanted to throughout the year, but that happens. Always expect the unexpected, but I'm happy with how things have progressed on that front, with how the health of my father's going and just the health of my family in general. So, looking forward to 2024, I think that we've got some really cool things planned for the channel and the Lego room in general. I think some really cool things and some directions that we will head in. I've got some ideas for our website as well, and for some of our social media. So lots of cool projects and ideas to work on throughout the year, and looking forward to seeing what other interesting things arise throughout the year that we can utilize and take advantage of as we continue to, build out our Lego room here and make it the best possible Lego space. But also as we continue to explore the Lego sort of idea space through conventions and various other shows. Lots of cool stuff to attend and see this year. So definitely make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on any of those great videos. If you've got questions or particular things that you want me to look at or focus on over the course of the year, please let me know. I know there's a lot of trains that people want to see built and finished and running around the layout, and we will work on those as fast as we can and getting those up and running. But if there's other things that you want to see me focus on, or that you want to learn about or know about, just let me know in the comments, and I will try to get to those over the course of the year. But thank you for joining us on this journey. I think 2023 was a great year, but looking forward to some more awesome Lego stuff over the course of 2024. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.